Hi, I'm Joey Lott, and this is another video in the series that I call Ask Consciousness Anything. And the purpose of this series is to invite you to look in your own direct experience. So please do not allow this to be just some more ideas or concepts. This is really only valuable if you are willing to look for yourself in your own direct experience. Now, today's question is a wonderful one. It's right over here, and I'm going to read it. It says, I feel like I can stop paying attention to the mind even while thought is happening in the comfort of my home. This has at times felt very liberating for me. So that's wonderful. You have discovered the essence of true self-inquiry. It's not about getting rid of the mind. It's not about getting rid of thought. It's not about changing it. It's not about doing anything with it. It's about recognizing that you are aware. And when you do this repeatedly in different circumstances in your life, it gets clearer. And so I'll just say this before I read the rest of the question. This question, and you'll hear this when I read the rest of the question, it reveals that why it's so important to inquire in all of the different circumstances in life, because it's so clarifying. So it says, the problem is that I feel like at work, when there's stuff to focus on, I can get worked up again and become angry with people I work with. And when I notice I'm stressed at work and try to shift attention out of thought, it doesn't give the same peace as it does while at home. So yes, this is awesome, because what you can see in this is that what's happened is that you inquire at home, and because the circumstances at home are conducive to a particular state, when you inquire at home, often what happens is that a particular state occurs. And your mind quickly labels this state as peace, probably because it's a more desirable state. So there's no problem with that state. But you can see that labeling of the mind, that this state is peace, becomes the new suffering, because then you go to work. And work is not conducive to that particular state. So at work, that state is not so frequent. And then you say, I'm unable to access peace while at work. You say, well, what's the evidence of this? Well, you say, because I feel angry at work. And so you can see the deceit here is that there's some state that happens at home that the mind calls peace. And then there's a state at work that the mind calls anger. And the mind says, that peaceful state, that's good. I was successful there. This anger state, that's unsuccessful. That's bad. And you can just notice what's actually happening is you're just giving attention to the thought and allowing that to deceive you. But the wonderful thing is that what we're really looking at here is not to arrive at a state. We're looking to discover what it is that's always here, that does not come and go. And I use words like awareness, consciousness, spaciousness, freedom, openness, aliveness to point to that. But of course, it's not those things. It's not the ideas that the mind has about what those labels mean. It's really important. You can only ever discover this in your direct experience. It's not in the words. It's not in mind. It's not in experiences from the past. If you're comparing and contrasting and trying to figure out if you understand it or don't understand it, or if you got it or didn't get it, it's the wrong direction. So just look now. And what you can discover, and you can see, you can inquire at work in this way. You can inquire at home this way. You can inquire at the bank. You can inquire at the grocery store. You can inquire while walking the dog. You can inquire while having sex. You can inquire while eating. You can inquire while in pain. It's the same basic inquiry, which is this. Notice that you are. And just allow yourself to rest here for a moment. Now, don't try to maintain it, because that's just another thought. Oh, I have to maintain it into the future. Just in this moment, right now, just notice that it's possible for you to just drop all effort and just be. to recognize that you are. You always already are. So you don't need to enter a state of being. Being is not a state. It's just the recognition that you are. It's so simple. So don't overcomplicate that. And then it's to notice what it is every time you inquire that's consistent, that's reliable, that's always here. So we're not trying to get some state and bring it here. We're not trying to create a state here. We're not trying to maintain a state. We're not trying to get to something. We're actually uncovering and revealing what's already here, which is so subtle that the mind overlooks it. But we can recognize it directly for ourselves because it's who we are. So don't make the mistake of turning to mind to tell you if you're doing it right. The key is simply to inquire and trust in the process. So you can see that the mind says that it cannot access the same peace. It's not peace. It's a state. Peace is not a state. So don't fall for the mind's trickery in this case, or its ignorance. Innocent ignorance. Don't fall for that. So the inquiry is just to pause and to be willing to just let it all slow down for a moment. Just rest for one moment without making any effort, without moving toward or away. Don't worry about maintaining that. It's really important. Don't give any concern about that. Just now, in this instant, just be willing to just drop it, let go. Don't pick it up. Don't grasp. Don't move away or toward. Don't try to figure it out, understand, or protect. Just for one moment. Everybody can do this. Just one moment. And then what is here is not graspable by mind. And if you try to apply a label to it, the label will be wrong. It's not it. So just notice what's actually here, and notice what's always here, what's always reliable, that you are. It's prior to a thought, during a thought, and after a thought. It's prior to a state, during a state, and after a state. And you can just recognize this. Don't expect for the gates of heaven to open. Don't expect for a particular state to arise or go away. Just notice what's always here. That's it. And then it says, it's like I can't go deeply enough. Any tips on how to tap deeply into this while in stressful circumstances? The key to success with self-inquiry is simply to apply it, keep it simple, and apply it in all circumstances of your life. The more frequently you apply the simplicity of the inquiry, just to pause and to notice that you are, prior to the thought, prior to the circumstance, prior to the feeling, prior to the state. Just notice the simplicity of being, directly, intimately, just that you are, what's always here. Just keep noticing in all of the circumstances of your life. It's so important that you do it in all the different circumstances, because that's what clarifies what's always here. We're not trying to get something and bring it here and make it stay always. We're actually truly looking for what's already always here effortlessly. So you cannot screw this up in the sense that you cannot get more or less being. You cannot get more or less awareness. You can't make it, you can't diminish it or harm it. So don't give any concern for that. Just inquire and discover what's already here, and be willing to not know. The more you're willing not to know and just to keep looking honestly, just by pausing, seeing what's actually here, just slow it down and you'll see sensation, energy, movement. That's what's happening prior to the mind. The mind then says, oh, I know what it is. I know what it's called. I know what it means. But you don't need to give attention to that. You don't need to get rid of it. You can just pause and just allow it all to be for a moment. That is true inquiry. And that works very quickly if you apply it frequently in the circumstances of your life. I hope that's been helpful. If you have a question, you can ask it at joeylott.com/ask. joeylott.com/ask. And if you're interested in my current events or working directly with me, you can go to joeylott.com/now, NOW. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.